My name is Matteo Bugni. I'm from Helena, Montana, and this is my story with Core Reprogramming. So I guess I'll just start off with, you know, the car accident in 8th grade. I was on the way to school with my dad and going maybe 20, 30 miles an hour, and this truck in front of us turned left, slammed right into us. My dad's side of the car, caved in the entire hood. Car, couldn't even recognize it afterward. And all that aside, after that wreck, I was put in a neck brace for a day or two and, got an x-ray. I was told that it was an anomaly in my neck, that there was nothing wrong with it, even though I was having pain. And went right back into wrestling season, went right back into practice. I wrestled the entire 8th grade season, ended up making it to the state championship. Then COVID happened. I wasn't able to finish my 8th grade year of school. I just worked out on my own, did CrossFit, had some neck issues, didn't think much of it. But then come football season, my freshman year, about 3 games in, I start to have this weird pain in my neck. It was really hard to describe at the time because I didn't really know what it was. But after practices, in the middle of practices, even after warming up, before any contact, really, I would just start to have these weird sensations going through my neck in which I couldn't move it. First, it would start off tingling, then it would start to ache, and then any movement whatsoever in my neck, whether that be, looking to the right, look at the cornerback, or just reading the field before a play, then my neck would seize up. It was something that I never thought I would experience. I ended up doing physical therapy for my neck, during football season. Ended up working through that. I wrestled my freshman year, um, had a concussion, and then freshman year of lacrosse season, actually, I I broke my collarbone, and funny enough, it was actually in track. I was doing both that year, and in track practice, I went over a hurdle, rolled through it, came right back up, and then as I walked over to my coach, I realized I couldn't move my arm. My left arm was just hanging there. I was wondering what the heck was going on. So, come to find, I snapped my collarbone in two. And that took me out for the rest of the season, freshman year. I couldn't do anything that summer, no lacrosse camps, no football camps. And for a collarbone, typically, doctors give you about 6 to 8 weeks to heal up before you go right back into activity. Well, I had about 2.5 months from from the period in which I broke my collarbone to when football started again. Well, the very first day football practice, 2.5 months later, sophomore year, I snapped my collarbone in two again. And that was weird because, 2.5 months is a long time to give a collarbone to heal. It really should have been fully healed by then. And didn't end up playing my sophomore year of football because my shoulder. Didn't wrestle my sophomore year because of my shoulder. And then I went into playing lacrosse my sophomore year. That was really the first activity that I was able to participate since I broke my collarbone the year prior. And that year, things went well. I did end up spraining my ankle on my right side, but that was a minor injury in my opinion. But then after my sophomore season of lacrosse, I started to have some weird sensations in my foot. Started off as just a weird tingling feeling, in the middle of practices or summer practices for summer camp with lacrosse. Then that developed into my foot going numb anytime I would run, walk, or even just hike up the mountain that we have here in Helena. And that progressed from that numb sensation into my hamstring being excruciatingly painful whenever I would run, sprint, really do anything for that matter. Even when I squatted, I would feel it in my hamstring. Well, I ended up doing physical therapy for that as well. And, fixed up my hamstring, fixed up my foot. We thought it was a nerve issue at the time. And then went into my junior year of football. So I hurt my hamstring, like my foot issue that developed into the hamstring issue. That was after my sophomore year of lacrosse. Yeah. Yeah, so that was leading into junior season of football. And that hamstring injury, that was what took me out of football camp that year and lacrosse camp that year. So, summer after sophomore year of lacrosse, I really wasn't able to do any camps. And then come football season, I fully participated, was able to fill my role as a tight end, as an H-back. Ended up wrestling junior year, didn't have too many issues. But then, come junior season of lacrosse, I developed this really weird ache in my low back. And at the time, I thought that it was a kidney stone. So I really didn't think too much of it. Ended up playing throughout that entire season of lacrosse my junior year, and week by week, practice by practice, it got so much worse. From the time that I started feeling it to the end of lacrosse season, I progressed from having a little pinch and a little ache in my low back on the right side to not being able to get out of bed some days. I remember my mom telling me that she remembers calling me out of school on Fridays because I couldn't get out of bed from the pain I felt in my back. But then, the moment, getting that call from the doctor, I really just thought that sports were over. I started to think, what the heck am I going to do with myself? Up until now, all I've been is an athlete. I did well in school. I got good grades, but that wasn't what I cared about. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to, have an amazing senior season of football and then go on and play college football. And when I heard that I herniated my disc, I thought that never would have happened. Well, then I met Matt Fischer, and the work that I did with Matt Fischer after my junior season of lacrosse, that was really what opened the door to being able to not only walk without pain, but to even play football, an extremely physically demanding and violent sport, 2.5 months after herniating my disc. And to me, that was unheard of. I really didn't know much about back injuries at the time, but all I had heard was that, hey, this person hurt their back and it took them 6 to 8 months. Sometimes it takes a year to get back into regular physical activity. And I thought that would have been me, considering the fact that when I herniated my disc after that senior season of lacrosse, I spent weeks in bed, not getting up, not going anywhere, not going out with my friends, because I couldn't even roll over out of bed without pain shooting down my leg, into my glute, into my hamstring, and then barely feeling like I could walk. Well, after meeting Matt Fischer and even just speaking with him and touching on the topic of possibly being able to play my senior season of football, I started to gain a new perspective on things, and I started to have hope. There was a spark there when I met Matt Fischer, and the work that we did over that summer with the Core Reprogramming, with the Next Level Athlete program. There were a college football player from Carroll that was in there, some other high school athletes that I had played against, and the work we did, it was tough. It was some hard work, but if I hadn't done that, I would never have been running, jogging and working into even sprinting 3 to 4 weeks after beginning my work with Matt Fischer. That wouldn't have been possible if I had just been resting in my bed, icing my back, and taking ibuprofen. It was really the work that I put in with Matt Fischer, his insights, his knowledge that we applied through the work in Next Level Athlete that allowed me to eventually be pain-free. I ended up playing my entire season. I ended up playing my entire senior season of football without worrying about my back. Throughout the season, there was maintenance that I needed to do. I regularly checked up with Matt Fischer, did checkups for my back. We did work with the Cray. We made sure that no severe issues would arise. And the work I did with him was really the reason that I got to play my senior season, that I got to have that last season with the boys, with my guys that I'd grown up with and just wanted to play that last season with. And not only did the work that we did together affect my physical capabilities, but after working with Matt Fischer and Cray and Next Level Athlete, I started to find that I even started to sleep better. It wasn't just that I felt better while performing, while exercising. It also meant that I started to feel better whenever I woke up in the morning. I'd wake up with a clear head. I didn't have brain fog as much as I did before. So it's not just the benefit on the physical aspect that you gain from the work with Matt Fischer. It also affects every other part of your life because you just feel better throughout the day. You don't have to worry about bending over with pain to pick up something from the floor or hurting yourself while going on your daily walk. That was what did it for me, is that I was able to walk without pain again. So that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't meet Matt. Okay. And something that surprised me was that the work with Matt Fischer that we did at Fischer PT wasn't anything like I'd seen before. It wasn't your typical, here are some exercises to do these 2 times a day, rest, and then you'll start to feel better. The work that I did with Matt Fischer was heavily based in neuroscience, and my expertise is next to none. I don't know if I could recite any of the things that Matt Fischer has told me, but the work that we do here at Fischer PT addresses the root cause of the issue, not necessarily just the symptom or just here's a compensating injury and we're going to fix it or address it by working this No, at Fisher PT, you address what really led to that compensation, which a lot of times is much deeper than you'd realize. It could stem from, say, a car accident, in my case, or trauma from your childhood, or even just a minor injury that you had years back that snowballed with your nervous system, leading to chronic pain and something that you have to deal with every single day. What you what you'll do at Fisher PT is address what started all those problems for you. You'll address how to actually fix the issue and get back into functioning on a daily basis without having to worry about your injury. All right. And what started out as just a little spark of hope ended up really snowballing into me telling myself, hey, you know, why not shoot for the stars? And what that was eventually me trying out for football at my dream school, you know, University of Hawaii at Manoa, and going from barely even being able to walk without severe pain to telling myself, hey, you know, we can do this. I can do this. That I could make this happen at my dream school. I never thought that that would have happened. I never thought that the spark of hope would have progressed into me shooting for my dreams. And part of that, I have, oh, how do I say that? And another big thing that really helped me through that was working with Richie Contartesi. His advice, his insight, and the work I did with him really helped me learn about the recruiting process with college football and how to reach out to coaches, how to speak with them, how to get an in at a school like Hawaii that I wanted to play for. Well, after going on an unofficial visit in which I wasn't even invited to at the University of Hawaii and getting told that there's no spots on the team, getting told that I'm not good enough for D1 football. Well, I said, you know, heck, I said, what the heck? Why not? Let's see what happens. So, you know, instead of staying close to home, I decided to go to the University of Hawaii and try out for the football team. Decided, heck, if I can go from barely being able to walk to being able to play football, why can't I try out for my dream school? So that's exactly what I did. You know, I was nervous as heck, or I was nervous as can be showing up to that tryout with my cleats, being one of a handful of high schoolers amongst 50 to 60 JUCO transfers, D1 transfers, and men that hurt, and athletes that I would call grown men compared to myself, in which I was a kid. I still am a kid. You know, I'm 19 years old. Um, what happened at the tryout was that I ended up being within the top 15 at the end of it. And you know, on a normal year, they take 10 to 15 guys for the scout team for practice. Well, this year they only took one. So didn't end up getting to play football at my dream school. That being said, I'm so glad that I tried out at the University of Hawaii. You know, I don't think I'd be the person I am today if I didn't shoot for the stars. I you know, I really learned from my experiences with Matt Fischer, with Rishi Contartesi, And with just believing in myself, that you can really make life what you want it to be when you bet on yourself. And you don't have to listen to the outside noise. Don't have to listen to what other people tell you. Hey, you can't do this because this happened before, or you weren't able to do this before. Then why would you think you can do this? None of that matters. Just believe in yourself. I wouldn't be going to the University of Hawaii today, going and studying nutrition, if I would have told myself, we can't do this. If I would have told myself, I can't do this, I should just stay here, go to the school that I've always known, which is a great school, by the way, but I never would have gotten out of my comfort zone.